The question really comes down to how much effort you're willing to put in to get what you want. Or do you believe that the effort that you're putting in now deserves those results? What if I told you that the effort is what it's all about, not the results? The path, not the destination. This kind of thinking is how to find long-term happiness. If you're saying to yourself, and why wouldn't you be, what could he possibly know about the meaning of life and a path to long-term happiness? And even more to the point, what does this have to do with building a CNC router? All of those questions are valid. I will say to you, my fictional counterpart, making things is one and the same as the pursuit of happiness. And on that, I think we can agree. For those that take delight in the abstract, the obscure, or even the thinly veiled metaphor. Now that I seem to be making the transition into an actual old guy, my OS is beginning to follow suit. I've always wanted to be a Linux guy. I just wasn't old enough to pull it off. I think the time has finally come. Even though my process may seem dialed in, a groove so deep you might call it a rut, it's not in my nature to take a low road, the easy path, or the simple solution. I'm going to make this intentionally a bit more difficult, but in a way that paves what I think is an interesting path into the future. You can call me crazy or kooky or even late for dinner if you like, but this seems like the right choice. I've been working through some interesting things lately, and a few of these worlds are about to collide, as they seem to do. Feel free to jump on and take a ride, by which I mean tag the sub button. That is, if this is the kind of thing that floats your boat, or drives your rig, or, well, you know what I mean. Come along and boil the ocean with me. There are only a few more parts to make on this machine before it's time to get to the real fun stuff. Well, at least for me. Many people, I hear, dread wiring work. If you can accept that everybody makes mistakes, and I mean everybody, and yes, at times those mistakes can cost you some parts, then it may not be as painful as you first envisioned. Unfortunately, this is part of the process. As you accept this fate, you learn the creativity and satisfaction that come along with what this task has to offer. But let's not get too far ahead of ourselves just yet. If you haven't noticed, and not that it would be obvious, unless I've made it so, I've been slowly transitioning to working through Linux CNC rather than Mach 3. It wasn't that long ago that I said I would eventually be converting my shop machines to Mach 4. As I thought about this, I decided to do a little more investigating into the options out there. And since I already had Linux CNC set up on my machine, it made sense to put it through the paces and give it the old college try. When I learned that PathPilot, the software that runs Tormach machines, was essentially a proprietary fork and custom UI of Linux CNC, and that many other industrial machines use the solution, it definitely raised an eyebrow. This is probably not for you if you just want to plug the thing in and get going. The Python development skills that I've been working on through the last year make this an interesting avenue of exploration. I'm not sold yet, but I'm definitely having a good time learning a bit more about it each day. In the next video, I'll be installing the stepper motors and going into the deep end of what I've chosen for electronics, and quite possibly, if I get the time to clean it up a bit, the details of how much this thing cost me. I still have a few bits and pieces to order, and I'm not ready to pull the trigger until I have a few more details about what I will need to finish this thing up. If you're interested in getting your hands on the Fusion 360 file and the bill of materials, I've already posted the beginning file in my Patreon. There's a link in the description. As I usually do, I've made a few changes as I build the thing. I'll follow up with a more detailed version at the end of the build. I'd like to thank everyone out there for all the continued support, and until next time, thanks for watching.